Well, that's wouldn't have gone shit. Right. So, this is 317. And I don't need to start from there, do I?
No, I can't remember where to start from.
Right.
It's good when your camera dies, isn't it?
Yeah. We bought this bus as a near perfect bus, and further investigation is that it's not as perfect as one would like, but at the end of the day it is nearly 30 years old.
It's 30 years old next year, 1992.
Yeah.
It's a cracking little bus. There's a couple of niggly little bits which you'd expect for a bus of its age. Far less than a bus that was 7 years newer than it, the B10.
But the chassis is in one piece.
Yeah, the chassis is surprisingly really good.
Yeah.
I am shocked about that.
So it's one of them. We've already had to do a few retrofits on it to make things better, but that's the whole point of it in a way. We're making mechanically it better than it was. We had an issue where every time we went out we wouldn't be able to see out the back window by about a mile down the road because it had emptied its whole gearbox oil up the back side of it until a decent level, and engine oil and any other oil it could find up the back window. And we have fixed that now, and it turned out to be the heat exchanger underneath, which was letting oil into the water, and then that was then boiling over, and there was too much oil in the gearbox because the dipstick is the wrong dipstick. So, because when I dropped the sump and put 16 litres back in it, it doesn't touch the end of the dipstick. Mm. So what's all that about? But now we can go out, it sounds fine, it whirls away as it's meant to, and there's hardly anything up the back end.
And it goes beautifully. Like, you wouldn't expect it to be a, almost 30-year-old bus.
Well, once you've got it in gear, it goes well.
Well, yeah, once you've got it in gear, but it's little niggly bits. It's a little gear cable that we need to run down, which will take a day. Oh, take a couple of hours, but that's something for when we've got some ramps.
Yeah. We'll touch on what we'd like at the end of this video. This is going to turn into a long video, but it gives you a good idea of who we are and what we actually want to achieve at the same time. So yeah, there's a few things on this bus that needs doing. As Sean said, the gear selector needs a new cable. Probably needs a new gear selector, to be fair, as well.
We'll have to see about that when we get a new cable sorted, but
the gearbox needs a little bit of a service because the actuator on it for the accelerator is stuck. So you get half throttle and then you have to plant your foot a bit further to get it to change gear. So it's never really setting it to 0 on the gear selector, which is a bit of a thing. But that's a cable driven box. For some reason it's a bit frozen in places. Other things that are a little bit niggler is header tank it's the right header tank, but it's meant to have a low water alarm in it, and it doesn't. They put it on the pipe, and the one in the pipe's gone faulty. So it always tells us we've got low water. Fan has been permanently stuck on over the fuel pump through some bodges in the little box in the engine bay. Something that needs to be sorted out.
It needs an isolator for it.
Yeah, isolator's been bypassed, so the power's permanently on. And the solenoid for the start needs a new solenoid putting on it rather than a little dinky relay, which is not going to backfeed protect the engine or the electrics. Other than that, it's just little niggly things. There's quite a big niggly little thing which people will know about, which doesn't work, but we're working on that to make it work. Which is why there's no cab videos of this bus, because well,
because that's all that needs to be said about it.
Well, no, because legally you don't need one.
You do and you don't. We've got other ways of monitoring it, but just not the correct way, sort of thing, if you get what I'm on about.
Legal states you don't need a speedometer, and the speedometer in this bus does not work. So what we do is we use the sat-nav, which gives us a speed, which is pretty damn accurate too.
Yeah, it's the most accurate you're going to get without having a working speed belt.
Yeah.
Which we think is literally just something in a gearbox that's either...
Well, there's a cluster of wires that go into the dashboard. The wiring diagram shows it's powered by the isolator, which has been bypassed.
Yep.
And there's wires all over the show. So we have got a friend who's going to come down and have a look. But if you're an auto electrician, you're willing to spend a few hours of your time for free and you're watching this video, then we much appreciated you to come and have a ding at this. Because the electrics are not like they were when they left the factory. And you look at the wiring diagram and you go, well, that wire's meant to be yellow. And it's fluorescent pink, and you're like, that ain't the same wire.
Yep.
You're like, oh no. But anyway, 2 new tyres will be needed for this in the near future. And that's going to be a big cost, obviously. What else is wrong?
I think that's all.
That needs repairing. Oh, the new oil cooler fan needs a bit of TLC.
Oil cooler fan? No, it's a lawnmower. We've talked about this. It's a lawnmower.
/ dust sprayer.
Yeah. When we had the open day, that was cutting grass for fun, spraying dust everywhere, and...
That was a nightmare.
However, it did keep the gearbox nice and cool, and it ran beautifully all day.
Well, we think that
until the alternator decided that it was going to detach itself and...
Well, you've not smelt the gearbox oil. It doesn't smell very happy.
No.
But anyway, yes, as he's just touched on, the alternator, I've just forgot about that one. The alternator is a long-term fix that we need to do, and we have no idea how we're going to fix it realistically. Because the bracket is part of the water system, and there's a bolt stuck in the bracket. Now you may say, oh, we'll just drill it out. We've got to get the alternator out. And the wiring is that fragile, that's going to be tricky. As well as the bolts aren't very happy to coming out. So at the moment it's held in by one bolt, but as the engine is running, as you rev up, the belt pulls the alternator at a funny angle, which puts strain on the bolt that's on it. And then the bolt snaps and the belt flies off, and then you have no charging, then the engine starts to eat the belt.
Which then stops the water pump from turning, which then causes the bus to overheat. And
very quickly at 50 mile an hour.
Yeah. 40-ish. Maybe a couple bit more.
It sits at 50 now.
It does.
Like
it sits very nicely at 50.
Well, I say happily, it sits there and you go. And you go over all the bumps. Especially on Greengate.
Yes, yes. As we found when we took it to Manchester.
I wish we had that on film, man, because that... I could just see you in the corner of my eyes went, bing!
When
like Mario.
When we were going down Greengate, I stupidly decided to jump over them as we were going down the bump. And I must have had about 3 or 4 seconds airtime. Is that what you're talking about, Jordan?
You look like a ping pong ball.
But no, other than the few little problems it's got, it's a cracking little bus. We've had a couple of little problems with the alternate belt popping off and the gearbox.
But it went to Barrow without a hitch. It did. The Newtonley Willow's running fair day thing as a service vehicle, which was an unexpected day. And that was a great donation from them. Thank you. And it did that without fault, apart from the windscreen wiper decided it wanted to stop working.
Yeah, and then it did the great hardwood day 1 until right at the end.
No, it did Chris's day as well.
Yeah, it did that.
Did that without fault. Then it did great hardwood. And then it broke.
Yeah, but it broke on the very last trip.
It did.
I'm not going to lie, I was giving it a bit, but...
Well, there's that, and it didn't really break the normal way it breaks.
Yeah.
The normal way it breaks is that the nut comes loose, but with him it didn't, it just sheared off.
Yeah.
Which is no surprise, it's a bus breaker.
You mean I'm a bus breaker? I fix them afterwards, don't I?
Yeah, right, we're going to go to the other dart now, and we'll tell you a bit about that one. And then we'll show you around these, because we're on a different camera now, we're limited to 10 minutes at a time. Bloody DSLs. Right, so we'll go sit on that dart now, but that one we're going to have to shout a little bit, because the engine has to run on that one if there's enough fuel left in it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the lights don't work.